Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending the AAR Virtual Job Fair event. I would like to introduce you to Greg. Greg will tell you about his company, job openings, and how to apply for those openings. Greg?
Good morning, everybody. How are you? My name is Greg Dellinger, call sign G-Man. Thank you so much for joining this virtual job career event as we talk a little bit about aviation here in the great state of Illinois, specific the Rockford region, and of course, the Middle West. I work at a company called AAR, and on behalf of the best team in aviation, we would like to thank you once again for being part of this very special activity. What I'd like to do is give you a quick overview of AAR, what we do, what our capabilities are, and then we can touch on the job opportunities that we have both here in Wooddale, Illinois, which is on the northwest end of O'Hare Airport. Yet really the big bogey on the radar screen is Airframe Maintenance Rockford, a 240,000 square foot heavy maintenance hangar where we are really working hard to staff up certificated aviation maintenance technicians. So I'll touch on that. Once again, honored to be with you. AAR stands for the Allen Aircraft and Radio Company. We were founded by an entrepreneur right here in the great state of Illinois 66 years ago. Ira Allen Eichner used his middle name for the first name of the company. So that's where you get the first A. And then how he began, friends, this is sort of interesting and really shows who we are here in Illinois and in our Middle West as far as entrepreneurship, seeing an opportunity, and really working it. So education connected to hard work creates economic prosperity here in the great state of Illinois. Thank you so much, Daniel, as well. I'm seeing on the chat bar, if anybody has any questions as they roll, please feel free to do so. Also in my signature nameplate is my email address. Here at AAR, we really work a fast, flat, and communicative talent acquisition, HR, comms function. So please always feel free to reach out to me and we can go from there. Also, since I have the pause right here, thank you so much, Daniel, for the questions as they roll. Friends, as a recruiter and human resources individual, I have a LinkedIn profile. You'll find me at Greg G-Man Dellinger. I am always encouraging one and all to be that strong leader and to uplift who you are as an individual, what you're interested in, content, that type of thing. So please, please, please follow me. And then you can also follow the social media pages of the company. We have a LinkedIn profile, a Facebook profile. We're on Twitter as well. And we just launched our Instagram profile as well. In addition to that, we also have a YouTube profile. And then I also help out with all the different crowdsource review sites, whether it be Glassdoor and Indeed, where you'll find jobs posted. So back to AAR, friends. So entrepreneur, Ira Allen Eichner, founded the company right here in 1951 in Illinois. And what he did was he purchased some headsets and microphones. Microphones back in the day, as far as air traffic control and pilots, now they have those bougie headsets, if you will. I have 4 young people that I live with. I've got my U of I tie on today. My middle son just graduated in last summer during the summertime. So proud U of I family. So friends, he went out and bought some headsets and microphones at auction. And then he went around to all the small little general aviation fields in the late 40s, early 50s, uplifting the merchandise in that as pilots came into the small little airfields, they could perhaps purchase the headsets and microphones. And from that became a supply chain of parts and components. So fast forward to right now, as we roll through the commercial recovery here in the global aviation industry, AAR does 3 things. We fix airplanes in 4 US locations. We also have 2 hangars in Canada where we fix and repair aircraft. And then we're also in a joint venture in Nagpur, India. So once again, a proud Illinois company, yet global. And we continue to ratchet that up to attract more opportunities back here to the great state of Illinois. So we fix aircraft in 4 US locations. They would, of course, be Rockford, as you can see on your screen, which is at the top of our great state in Winnebago County. And I really position that as the front door and the welcome mat of Illinois. We also have a facility in Indianapolis, Indiana, the Circle City. Get ready for that 500. That'll be bringing a lot of opportunity and a lot of economic action to our sister state. Then we also have a facility in Oklahoma City at the Will Rogers Airport. Again, I live with 4 young people. My oldest, who is a proud graduate of Lewis University in Romeoville, Illinois, Congresswoman, that's the 3rd district, so that's Congresswoman Newman's district. And he asked me, my 26-year-old, he's like, Dad, what is a Will Rogers? I'm like, he's a singing cowboy. And he's like, well, I've never heard of him. I'm like, well, it was 90 years ago, but he could sing. So we have a maintenance facility at the Will Rogers Airport. And then if you want to be Mr. or Miss 305, you can move to Miami, Florida, as we have a repair station there. So 4 US locations, 2 in Canada, 1 in Nagpur, India, going up right now. So that's our fix-it business. We also fly aircraft for the State Department. We're under some very different contracts there. So in addition to recruiting aircraft maintenance technicians, friends, I also help out with pilots as well as the whole supply chain to keep aircraft both fixed wing. So let's see, I brought in a little airplane. So this would be a fix because the wings are attached, as well as rotor wing aircraft helicopters. So we fly in tough locations across the globe for the State Department. And then we will also get you an entire airplane if you want it, yet we'll only do it 1 or 2 pieces at a time. So going back to the beginnings and the origins of AAR, a supply chain of parts and components, all primarily from the aftermarket, although we do distribute brand new OEM equipment as well through different distributorships. So that's our business. We are global. We have approximately 4,500 or so best team in aviation individuals. We are publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange. Our ticker symbol is AIR. I feel we're a $100 stock, and we're moving right along as part of the recovery, at $40 to $42 a share. Overall revenues are approximately 1.7, 1.8 billion. So we're not giant. So if you're looking for an employer that you can really work hard, stay focused, and small enough and quaint enough where you can sort of make a name for yourself, AAR, would be in that consideration list. So we're a mid-sized company. Pre-COVID, of course, we were really cooking with Jet A, 6-7 straight quarters of double-digit growth, and revenues were inching towards 2.2, 2.3 billion. And of course, with 60% or so of our revenues focused on commercial aviation, the company had to quickly skinny down and live the day, which we are. And now we're on the come up for the commercial recovery. Specific to that, I just was in Charlotte, North Carolina, attempting to attract talent to move to our great state of Illinois and the Airframe Maintenance Center in Rockford. And the airport was crowded. It was good to be at O'Hare with some real good activity. I'm starting to see that both on a macro level as well as a micro level. So good there. So let's make a tight turn into the opportunities at Airframe Maintenance Rockford. So we have a 240,000, I'm just going to check the time right here. Because on the back end, I'd like to do a sort of a cold stop at all possible at around 8 minutes or so. So at around 10:20, 10:21, I can answer any questions that anybody has around job opportunities. Yet really where I'm working today is Airframe Maintenance Rockford. In 2014, 2015, we really worked hard with, at the time, Governor Quinn in that cycle, along with all the folks up in the Rockford region, to literally build from the ground up a 240,000 square foot heavy maintenance hangar. If you've ever been to the Chicago Rockford International Airport, when you land there, you'll think you're in Paris, France, yet you're actually at the Forest City. I have a real passion for every hamlet in the great state of Illinois and a real love affair with Rockford. Again, it's everything that personifies our great state. Education connected to hard work and a Midwestern sort of, we don't seek self-acclaim, along with a strong desire to have that middle class or even beyond that lifestyle. So that's what we're working towards up in Rockford. So the hangar was built to handle any commercial aircraft flying right now, whether it's that double-decker Airbus with the 4 big motors, to the Queen of the Skies, the 747s, where you're seeing those in freighter and cargo action up at the Rockford Airport. The hangar can handle any type of aircraft that's flying today. And what we do is what is known as heavy checks. The majority of the world's airlines outsource their planned heavy maintenance visits, where basically the aircraft is in the hangar for approximately, on the low end, 15 to 20 days, on the back end, 35 to 45 days. And basically you'll go through the entire airframe, and we work the actual tube that you would be in, or the cargo would carry in. We do a little bit of engine work, but not a lot. That's controlled mostly by other shops and, the Pratt & Whitneys of the world, the individuals and companies that actually make motors. So we are an airframe station, and at the Rockford hangar, we are hiring right now aviation maintenance technicians. So those individuals, friends, have gone to a special school, which is known as a Part 147 school. We have quite a few throughout the great state of Illinois. I'm familiar with just about all of them, having either gone to visit, hired the students, hired the graduates, the alumni, that type of thing, so that we can all coalesce across Illinois. I hire aviation maintenance technicians. And then with that certification, you also can obtain ratings, which are known as airframe, the tube, and power plant, which are your motors. So then this way, you have the ability to take a pen and sign off that the repair work and the maintenance work has been done to the highest level, exactly the way the manufacturer or the airframer wanted it to be. So it's a pretty high level of criticality, that we work here at AAR. I always kid young people, aviation requires a stout heart, great optimism, clearly going through a pandemic. But also, it's not work for the timid, yet to really work a machine that defies gravity consistently. And all the exciting things I just noticed in today's news cycle, as well as last night, that United Airlines, our base load customer up at the Rockford Airport, now is going to get back into supersonic travel. So that'll be interesting as well. So that's the type of individual that I'm hiring right now at Airframe Maintenance Rockford. With United Airlines, here in Chicago, that would be in the state of Illinois. That's our hometown airline. So it's sort of a dream come true for me on a personal level. Airframe Maintenance Rockford here in our great state of Illinois, working, our hometown airline of United Airlines, and then specifically their 737 airframe, which is a narrow body aircraft, meaning one aisle down the fuselage. And so to have all of these proud Illinois companies sort of coalesce and come together to create economic opportunity connected to education is just on a personal level, literally a dream come true. Yet that's what I've always tried to be about. Prior to AAR, as you'll see on my LinkedIn profile, I spent 10 years at the Disney company. So, entrepreneurship, a desire to really see past the present and see the future. Those were some of the things that I was taught at that company, and then was able to really harness and add some thrust here at AAR through the lively and charismatic leadership of the organization. In addition to airframe maintenance Rockford, we do have a few jobs more on the picking and packing side of things here in Wooddale, Illinois. So if that were to make sense for you, you can always go to the career section of aarcorp.com and you can search by location. So you can search by state as well as specific job opportunities. So that's solid as well. So here in Wooddale, which is on the northwest end of the O'Hare Airport, friends, we have a distribution center in addition to our corporate headquarters. So any functions that you'd find at a headquarters, whether it's HR, communications, senior leadership, our legal department, IT, any of those sort of finance, accounting that you would find at a headquarters, that's what you're going to find right here. We were part of the essential, Governor Pritzker, the essential workforce to keep everything moving during the pandemic. So we're very proud of that as well, to keep everybody safe and healthy and, the economy sort of moving along as we really make this big come up. So we're excited about that. I think it's about 10:20 or so. So if there are any specific questions, Daniel, I'll turn it over to you and we can sort of go from there.
Fantastic. Thank you for that wonderful presentation, Greg. And as Greg just stated, we will be transitioning into that Q&A portion of the event now. So if you do have any questions for Greg, please feel free to enter those into the chat and we'll get those answered. Greg, while we're waiting for some of those questions to come in, I do have some just generalized or standard questions to ask you.
Terrific.
In the meantime,
I know all the answers, friends, to all the questions. Money. Give me the hard ones first, sir.
Well, the first question that I have for you, Greg, is how long does the hiring process typically take from the point of submitting an application to be extended, that official offer for hire? What does that look like?
Traditionally, friends, for airframe maintenance Rockford, because that's really where my focus is, again, we can move people along, within 30 to 45 days. So the application comes in. We have a team of switched on and clicked on and focused recruiters that really know airframe maintenance. The recruiting team, again, we really pride ourselves on doing it right. So the HR team, both Terry and Felicia, both proud Rockfordians. And so, that's so important, that we hire from the region. They know the territory. I grew up, in Chicago, Illinois, and then we made the big move to the suburbs, to Niles and Morton Grove, and my mom now lives in Glenview, Illinois. And then I personally live in the western suburbs with my 4 children. My wife grew up in Naperville, when it was more of a much more small town. So we really have focused from the region. In addition, we have a talent recruiter. His name is Josh. Josh is former military, proudly serving in the Army. And that is something too, because I know we have friends, Daniel, from Scott Air Force Base, as well as other individuals that are transitioning out of the military. 25% of our U.S. workforce are men and women who have worn the U.S. military uniform. So it's something that is a big, big part of who AAR is and how we go to the marketplace and the type of individuals that we hire. That's truly diversity in action in the military. So from application receipt to starting to work the applications and the resumes, usually we can get interviews scheduled, depending on if it's going to be in person or virtual, 7 to 10 days or so. You will absolutely hear from AAR. Again, we try to be fast, flat, and communicative. I work 24/7, 365. Again, because I have 4 young people, I literally, friends, levitate over my bed with one eye open. Teenagers are fun. I'm also very committed to my job here at AAR. So from there, you'll go to an interview process that usually will be at least 1 to 2 interviews, a phone screen, and then of course, a formal interview and or post interview, depending on the role. Then We'll get leadership to do an assessment as far as wages, and then we'll go to offer. Depending on, kind of where things sit, we'll go from there. And then, we can go to offer. We are, in addition to competitive wages for aircraft maintenance technicians, everybody, we are offering relocation. So if you have friends, relatives that, even if they're downstate, down near Edwardsville or Scott, or even outside the state of Illinois, we are offering relocation. It's just not the type of thing. We really care about our employees, and it does feel like home, and we see ourselves as a family. At least I do. I really try to connect with people and get to know the individual. If you allow me to do that, I think that's so important. And that brings the camaraderie and the fun to one of our core values of making money and having fun while producing a service at the highest levels of safety of flight and airworthiness. So within 30 to 45 days or so, you're moving pretty fast. That's what we like to do, especially now that we have a base load customer up at the Rockford hangar. We're moving pretty quick. The goal right now is over the next year or so to really put people in groups and to hire, between 200 and 250 aviation maintenance technicians up there. So it's an amazing career at the Rockford Airport.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Greg. And Greg, sure. I just do want to take a brief pause. I did see we had a few folks join, so I just want to encourage anyone who has just joined the session, if you do have any questions for Greg regarding any of the employment opportunities that were covered at AAR, please feel free to enter those questions into the chat and we'll get those answered for you. Greg, in the meantime, I do have some additional questions that I'd like to ask you. Sure. The next question that I have for you is, how can a candidate stand out and get an interview, assuming they are qualified for the position in which they are applying? Are there any sort of tips, pointers, just general pieces of information or advice that you'd like to impart with folks so that they might be, granted kind of a leg up maybe on the competition or folks who might be applying?
Sure. Great question. And this goes, first off, a strong digital profile. Because, if I get an email from somebody, the first thing that I'm going to do is go to a LinkedIn profile. A lot of folks think, well, LinkedIn is more for, if I'm a lawyer or I'm an accountant or whatever it is. And that would be untrue. It's so important to have that digital profile. I always encourage folks, on the maintenance side of things to do a couple of things, but that strong digital profile, because then this way you can DM people directly through that profile. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. It's global. I've been working it almost since the very beginning in 2007, 2008. You just kind of build it from there. Today's the day to start with that. So that would be number one, to have that, sort of digital profile. So somebody could sort of see that. I encourage people to, it's like career services. If we have, individuals who are, working, going to school at one of our 48 community colleges across the state of Illinois, are in school, earning a bachelor's degree. As I always encourage one and all to always engage with career services. And career services, those men and women, that's their job. I went to a bunch of Catholic schools and a Jesuit high school. Once somebody said, hey, I'll go talk to the priest, he's got to forgive me, and somebody's like, well, maybe he won't. And I'm like, well, that's his job, so it's my job to engage with talent. So create that visibility in advance. Find out who the hiring manager is as well, and send them either an email, whatever platform they like to go to. Recently up in Rockford, the Rockford Register Star, and I always encourage people, Google the organization as well, or put it into a browser. The Rockford Register Star, Daniel wrote a story, and the reporter, reached out to me. A friend said the reporter had a few follow-up questions, reached out to me through Twitter, just DM me from there. I keep things light, tight, bright. Within minutes, I responded. Here's my email. Here's my telephone number. They gave me the question through Twitter. I answered it. And then I was on my way to Olive Harvey College, which is where we have an aviation technician program. It's part of City Colleges of Chicago. And by the time that I parked the car and actually could look at the phone, friends, the story with the information that I gave was already posted. So, you know, that leg up and connecting with a potential hiring manager is so very important. But if you fit that profile, friends, and it sort of, you know, lines up with the job description, keep kind of, you know, nudging it along the best you can. You know, finding a job is all about, you know, sort of an energy and a passion. And I think you're going to find individuals, once again, there's not a haughty or look at me, you know, component, although I am a middle child and my mom's favorite. She has to deny it, Daniel, but I am, you know, I really try to bring a real passion and energy, compassion, as well as empathy, and connecting people to the aviation world here, especially here in the great state of Illinois. Again, I know most of the education partners. And so even if you don't have the aviation maintenance technician, but you've always wanted to get it, just simply email me, put a telephone number in there. I'll call you and we can have a quick conversation about how to make this happen. So your post-pandemic future is going to be very different, going after industries that are going to be growing again here in the great state of Illinois. So realizing Rockford, friends, and then Daniel, I'll toss it back to you. The Chicago Rockford International Airport, with all the cargo activity that they have there, this is the fastest growing airport in the world. Those aren't my words. That's what's happening up there. And Senator Durbin, you know, was just up there on Tuesday, and those were his words as he looked around and saw the potential, the current prosperity, but the potential. I mean, all the big ones are there. UPS, Senator coming out of Germany, a new organization coming from Europe, and of course, Mr. Bezos himself. Amazon has arrived on the field as well, and with their distribution network with Amazon Air. So exciting times in Illinois specific to aviation.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that response, Greg. And Greg, another additional question that I have for you that I like to ask on all my events.
Sure.
Is what are the opportunities for advancement at AAR? And are there any particular success stories that you might like to share with folks just to illustrate maybe some of the opportunities that they might have in store if they come work at that organization?
It's truly the sky is the limit. I was with Clayton. He's the director of aeronautics for the great state of Illinois. And he said, there's even something beyond the sky is the limit. So that was kind of fun. And that's how we see things here. I'll give you two individuals, both high level individuals. John Holmes. We have a very lively and charismatic and caring senior leadership team. The first day, so John Holmes, who's our CEO, president and CEO. So our, you know, here at the company, proud Illinoisan, went to the University of Illinois. I know everybody will be shocked. Finance, took a job like at like an investment company for, you know, for a hot minute, and then came to AAR. His first day, everybody, was September 11th. That was his first day. Clearly not a great day in the world of aviation and here in the United States and really across the world. So he stuck with us. We stuck with him. He went to school. We paid for it because we do offer tuition reimbursement at University of Chicago at their Booth School. So, you know, he did all the heavy lifting, and through 3 to 4 different roles in less than 15 years or so, friends, is now the #1, you know, here at the company. So true success story, just work, you know, again, hard work, connected to education, a real passion, compassion, and knows to the everything that Illinois is about, you know, growth. So that is one. Another one would be Chris Jessup. He's what is known as our chief commercial officer. So he meets with the people at the airlines. He had just graduated, if you're into aviation, Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, which offers an online program. And down at Scott Air Force Base, I did check with Embry-Riddle. We do have transitioning military and active duty airmen, you know, attending a school, their online school. But Chris Jessup had just graduated from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. He was the local business development person for Avborne Heavy Maintenance, which was the Miami hangars. We purchased that, an acquisition, 2007, 2008. So he was the local seller, if you will, for that. Here we are in 2021. He's now the top, business development person at the company. So, started through an acquisition, brought through the company, made the ascent to the tippy top. And it's, again, the grind. I'll leave you with this as far as, because especially young people like, oh, I want to be, at the tippy top. And an HR person like me, I'll help you do it. But it's not for the timid. So I used to get off airplanes. I'd be coming back from Oklahoma City doing recruiting there at that airframe station, everybody. I'd get off an airplane. He'd be on the same airplane. And then it was, 9 o'clock at night. He'd be going to another terminal there at O'Hare to fly somewhere so that he'd be first in the office of a potential customer the very next morning, where I'd be going home and doing my thing. So once again, that grind, that energy, that passion, and that's one of the reasons too why the company continues to move through recovery. We're realistic that it's lumpy right now, but also optimistic, and that's aviation, that's AAR, and I think for me, I'll even say I know that's Illinois. No doom and gloom. We go head on with where we are and move forward. And there's amazing opportunities in aviation here in Illinois.
Fantastic response. Thank you for that, Greg.
I read it right off my hand.
And Greg, I do have kind of a final question for you, if you will,
Sure.
as we kind of begin the wrap up of today's session. And of course, after this question, we'll give you an opportunity to wrap things up as well. The question that I have is very basic and straightforward. So if folks or applicants do have any questions for you regarding any of the information that was covered here today, or maybe, whilst filling out their applications, what would be the best way to go about getting those questions answered? Would it be to reach out to you directly, or what would be the process?
That's how fast it is. Daniel, great question. And thank you so much. Again, fast, flat, communicative. If you have a question, even before you even go into the application process, because, we've all done this, and that is something too, that I really meet people where they are. So even if you have a question, well, I don't even know if I qualify for this job, just either email me or call me. I work out of our headquarters. We are open. We're officially going to be open, July, in July. We still are, masking here. I use the yellow one because I'm a happy person. So you can just email me. It's right there in my signature, Greg G. Mandellinger. I'm at gdellinger@aarcorp.com. If everybody has a pen handy, you can always call me right here in my office, 630 on the hook, 227-2074. And again, and then I also have a LinkedIn profile. On there is also my personal email address as well as my telephone number. So, I go pretty fast, So, but I'm always open to, having a conversation about things. So if somebody has questions about their application, even putting an application in, what school I should go to, what sort of training is desired, do we have entry-level support technician roles? Yes, we do, where if you already have the ability to work with hand tools, and a strong desire to learn aviation, or our entry-level opportunities. Clearly, you can't have an army of those individuals, and that's why it is certificated, 3 to 5 years. Yet again, we offer tuition reimbursement. I have different pipeline programs, not only here in the state of Illinois, but across the United States of America. So if there's a way to switch somebody on and get them focused around fixing them, flying them, or learning our business, I'll try to do it. We do a lot of career days and career visits. And again, I walk the talk. I live very transparent. I was at the Aviation Institute of Maintenance in Charlotte. And this was kind of funny, friends. They repurposed the building, and you're seeing a lot of that here in Illinois as well. So at that particular location, I drove up and it looked like a grocery store. And I said to the leaders, I'm like, what this used to be? And they're like, it's a Walmart. So I wanted to say like, hey, you might think that I'm at a Walmart, but I'm not, so I'm at a aircraft maintenance school. So again, just find me on LinkedIn. I respond to everything. I also help out with the frontline communications to the company. So if you go to our career section and you have a section, there is a tab where you can just send in random questions. Yet make them, I will say this, Daniel, make them on point. Over on Monday, on Memorial Day, I got an email from somebody just saying, I want to work at your company. And I'm like, oh, and I wrote the person back. I'm like, okay, what do you want to do? And I still haven't heard back. So, I would like to win the Mega Million like everybody, but really kind of hone in on that, make it a specific request, make it all about like who we are in Illinois, light, tight, bright, no doom and gloom, and we're on our way. So people can just reach out to me directly.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Greg. And Greg, I do want to afford you one final opportunity to make any sort of summary statements or concluding remarks that you'd like to make regarding today's session, perhaps highlighting something maybe that you already covered or including something that maybe you feel you might have overlooked for the folks that are on the call. Again, just to kind of begin that wrap up process.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And again, for those that spent the time with us, terrific. Thank you. Even if AAR is not for you after you're hearing this, because you'll be like, oh my gosh, the G-man's crazy about aviation. I'll turn into him if I go to work there. Maybe not. But even if you have a friend or a buddy or can refer somebody, that'd be wonderful as well. I really see the aviation community and the talent community at just that, a community, a family, strong fraternity, strong sorority, strong connectiveness within. And I've done that my entire career. So I really encourage everybody to do that. AAR is ready right now to dig in and grow as the recovery rolls. And we really truly feel what we do and how we serve our customers and connect the world to be that trusted partner. This is we're moving into the golden age of maintenance, repair, and overhaul and outsourcing aircraft maintenance. We're moving into the golden age of components and spare parts from the aftermarket, realizing the world's airlines are trying to get back online and get those folks moving as more vaccinations roll. Clearly they're working, which is why, right now our governor has us, I think we're at that bridge, in between stage, between 4 and 5. And so by the 4th of July, our commander in chief with strong connections, Dr. Jill Biden, our first lady, was just here in the state of Illinois. I know everybody probably is shocked that, she went to the community colleges. She was up in at Sauk Valley Community College up near the QC. And again, I really, really believe. So, we see this, our opportunity to dig in and grow, tell a friend, tell a buddy, become a certificated aviation maintenance technician. If you know somebody who's transitioning out of the military and doesn't have their airframe and power plant, I will help. Just pop a signal flare to yours truly and we'll go. You can find me on social media and of course my LinkedIn profile at Greg G. Mandellinger. Please link in with me. I try to be that super connector across the state of Illinois. Thanks again, everybody. Dan, I'll throw it back to you for closing remarks and blue skies, everybody.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Greg. So I just want to go ahead and state a few things, obviously, before we go ahead and wrap today's session up. The session has been recorded and it will be uploaded to Illinois WorkNet's YouTube channel later this afternoon. Obviously, if you want to go back and access any of the excellent information that was covered by Greg, or any questions that might have been answered during the Q&A session, of course, you can go back and review everything that was covered today. And as Greg stated, if you do have any questions regarding any of the information that was covered here today, or perhaps you have another question in mind that you would like answered, or anything related to the application process, you can please feel free to reach out to Greg. As he stated, he did provide his contact information, both email, telephone number, and LinkedIn profile. So again, we would encourage you to reach out. Greg, thank you so much again for your presentation and your time today. Much appreciated. To the job seekers that are on the call as well, thank you so much for devoting a certain amount of your time as well today to the webinar. And again, we hope that you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much, Greg.
You betcha. Blue skies, everybody. Good day.